Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. This is part 3 of What If Deku Had a Darkness Quirk. And as always, if you enjoy, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. Every single bit helps. So please show some love to the videos if you want to see more every single day. I'm gonna try my absolute best to get you guys daily content. That's my goal. That's my want. It's just daily content. Now, with that said, though, check the links in the description for, my Spotify, Discord, stuff like that. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I want to get right into it. So let's get it. Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo are going to take on the one and only All Might. Izuku and Bakugo have to somehow get along to actually, possibly beat All Might, or at least escape where All Might is. But in all honesty, there's really no way they're gonna get along. And almost off the bat, when they begin their fight against All Might, it's obvious Bakugo has no intention of working with Izuku, because quickly he's just on his own, trying to fight All Might, trying to beat him up, trying to use his explosions. And Izuku, he's trying to help, and he's trying to get in and help, but the light that is being created by the explosions is really messing him up and really messing with him in general. He tries to tell Bakugo that if they bring the fight over to a darker area, or they try to create a darker area, that he'll be able to do something, that he'll be able to help him or do this or do that, but nothing is working. Nothing at all. And of course, Izuku or Deku is trying to figure out a way to actually help him fight All Might, because the way it is right now, he doesn't stand a freaking chance. He tries to go in there and get and hit All Might, but nothing works. He tries to even expel some of the darkness that he has, but he obviously notices that none of it is working. He knows that at this rate, all they're gonna do is lose. He tells Bakugo and actually decides that he's going to basically give up on trying to help him, and then he realizes something that Bakugo is doing, but he doesn't think he's doing it on purpose. He tells Bakugo that his explosions are weak, that they're nothing, that a volley of explosions won't do anything to All Might, in which immediately Bakugo's like, oh, you think a volley of explosions won't do anything? Oh, sounds good. And he begins to shoot explosions at an insane rate at All Might, creating this giant cloud of kind of smoke and dust and gravel and all of these things. And he continues to shoot the explosions. And he says after he's done shooting all of these explosions, he'll watch and he'll see that All Might's on the ground in the dirt, and he's gonna be done. But before you know it, All Might would grab Bakugo after like 20 different explosions, and he would slam Bakugo to the ground. He would tell Bakugo that he needs to find a way to work together, because if not, well, all they're gonna do is lose. In which Izuku, out of nowhere, would lay a punch on All Might's stomach and then hit him with a double axe handle fist and punch him right in the back, sending All Might straight to the ground. He wonders, how the hell is he that strong? What just happened? I know he surprised All Might, or he did surprise All Might, and All Might's like, well, I know he surprised me and he caught me off guard, but there's no way I should have took that much from whatever he's doing. Then All Might would look up. He would see that the dark clouds have created even more darkness, have literally created a massive amount of shadow, covering up parts of where the sun was shining its rays. All Might is about to punch the cloud out of the sky, basically sending a gust of wind, but before he could do that, Izuku has already absorbed so much darkness that he begins to expand the darkness in a small area around All Might. All Might believes that, oh well, he could just run out of it and get out of the area. But before you know it, All Might can feel his feet as if they were stuck in the concrete. He feels like he's heavier, unable to move, and Izuku begins to, just appear out of nowhere, punching him and kicking him and doing anything he possibly can, even trying to wrap him up in capture tape. Now, it's not easy by any means, but All Might tries his absolute best to get out of the scenario. But as he's struggling, and the more he's struggling, the more it's actually becoming apparent that it's extremely difficult to even walk through all of this darkness. And Izuku, well, he fights his way through, trying to stop All Might from escaping, but All Might would eventually get out of this kind of in kind of like weird domain that he has created of actual just full on darkness. And as All Might escapes, he finally tells him that this is now over. If that was his last gambit, it seems like he has now failed. But All Might would look down to see that he has capture cuffs on his right leg, and Izuku tells him that it seems like he failed at realizing what they were trying to do, in which this makes All Might realize that that was the plan for Izuku the entire time. The plan wasn't to defeat him. The plan wasn't to knock him out. The plan wasn't to even hurt him. It was to get the capture cuffs of some sorts on All Might to insinuate or to enter a victorious kind of way, or enter some sort of win condition, in which Izuku tells him that Bakugo might not have wanted to actually help him during this fight, but he was helping without even realizing it. He was doing exactly what Izuku wanted him to do, or exactly what Izuku needed him to do. And well, it seems like it worked out for the best, because look at that. They were able to get the win over All Might, and they were able to get the win in this scenario, and get the win to go to the forest training camp, which that's where everybody is trying to get to. And that's where everyone is trying to, everyone is trying to get to in terms of getting to their next part of their training. In which this is perfect for Izuku, because Izuku has full intentions of taking advantage of all of this excess training. And that's exactly what they're going to do, especially at the forest training camp. Now, the forest training camp goes actually a little bit different. There is no villain invasion, and they all head off to the forest training camp and get an absolute crazy amount of training that would ensue. And this would help Izuku quite a bit as well, because he would take two kind of different scenarios. Now, very similar to Dark Shadow and Tokiyami's training, they would train in like a dark cave that would allow him to try to keep control over a very strong Dark Shadow. With the help of Izuku, he's already kind of ahead of his time in terms of that training, but Izuku would be out during the nighttime, or out during the daytime, and try to basically use up every excess of darkness he has, using every last bit of it to kind of excel at how much he can truly absorb. And when nighttime would come, he would absorb as much as possible, as much as he possibly can, and then continue to expel it over and over and over again. So a lot of his absolute peak training comes during the nighttime, but he doesn't work in that cave with Tokiyami, because, well, Aizawa believes him working in the light as well will help him along the way too. So for about 1 to 2 weeks, that's literally what they do. They consecutively just over and over again, Izuku just expels and absorbs over and over and over again, to the point where Izuku feels like he is becoming that much stronger. He is becoming massively stronger. And it's because he's able to absorb so much darkness that's to the point where he can utilize so much darkness even in the actual daylight and even actually in the light. And this is perfect for Izuku. Perfect. Because at the end of the day, I mean, he wants to get powerful and wants to get stronger as a hero, and this is his way to do so. Now, after the 2 weeks basically of training, they would have, well, everything be kind of over. It would be done and dusted. Izuku and Class 1A would head off to UA High School. And as they're doing this, as, a couple days would go by of training and different things, they would actually see something that would disturb a lot of them. It seems like there's a massive attack on a city nearby. But this attack seems to be a distraction for one thing, a distraction for the one and only All For One to actually kill All Might. And this distraction, they all watch as All Might would fight off All For One. And the thing is, it's not that simple to actually defeat All For One in this case, because All For One has many Nomus that are currently helping him, and the heroes are trying to help out All Might by taking the Nomus off of their plate. Even Aizawa actually, and a lot of the other heroes that work at UA, were forced to leave UA as well and send the other students home. But Izuku, well, he's thinking like they need to somehow help. How can they help, or what can they do to help? But there's really nothing he can truly do. That's until he walks outside. He walks outside into the darkness, and he feels like he's powerful enough to go over there and help. He's powerful enough to go over there and truly do something. But this would be a mistake. A mistake that one person was planning for. Because Izuku would fly over there at insane speeds using some of the other techniques that he has now learned. He arrives right next to All Might, helping with the Nomus that are currently attacking him. Basically dissolving the Nomus, just dissolving them into the darkness and making them basically unable to move entirely and unable to be approached in the battle. And Izuku would look toward All For One, and he would basically tell All Might that it's all up to him now. That he needs to beat him, and he needs to. And as he's about to say his last words and leave, a portal would open up right behind him, and he realizes that All For One and his hand is reaching through the portal. He grabs onto Izuku, and Izuku screams in for help, and he tries to do anything, tries to get out of it, and he can feel his powers, well, getting weaker. He doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't know what's going on. And All For One says that he was waiting for this opportunity. He knew the kid would do this. I mean, he's just like some of these gullible heroes that are here now. All Might would try his best to lay a punch on All For One to send him flying. But as he does, he pulls Izuku through the portal, and he basically is sent flying with Izuku, as All For One would then land and toss Izuku to the side. Izuku would look at All For One and would kind of struggle his way to his feet, and he would tell All Might that he needs to get out of here. Izuku, he needs to get out of here. And he tries, but then he realizes something. His powers, his quirk, it's gone. He doesn't know what happened. He doesn't know how it happened, but then he realizes he did it. All For One did that. How did he do that? How did he take his powers? This doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Not like at all. How can he even do that? In which Izuku, well, is immediately in complete shock at this point, as All For One would begin using Izuku's quirk to take massive advantage over the battlefield, and he would create a large area that is completely covered in darkness, and immediately it's scary for All Might. All Might is on the back foot, unable to keep up, and to the point where his body is failing him. He is on the ground, almost out of commission, and All For One stands above him, telling him that it seems like all it took was one mistake. One mistake from somebody with a gifted quirk, and all it took was him to take it. All it took was for his little student to make a mistake. Izuku would scream the name of All Might, telling him to run, to do something, no, don't hurt him. And as Izuku watches this, he watches as, well, All For One would take a blade and send it straight through All Might, using the darkness quirk that he had. Izuku would watch on in complete and utter shock, screaming at the top of his lungs for help. But before you know it, he would stand up and he'd run at All For One. And All For One would grab his throat once again and surround him in darkness. Izuku says that he'll kill him for this, that he'll end him for this. And All For One tells him that he's nothing, that there's nothing for him anymore. But the thing is, his quirk is very unique, that the body of himself, he's unable to truly understand it, unable to truly get the most out of it. But you know who can? You, Izuku Midoriya. You can. in which, as he says this, Izuku is knocked out and dragged through a portal, and All Might is left there to bleed out. Everybody stands unable to imagine what's going to happen next. And Izuku, well, he doesn't even know what's happening as it's happening. Izuku is changed, tortured, and completely and utterly broken apart mentally. And after months, you could say, it seems like All for One has left Kurogiri and also has left Shigaraki as the past, and has now made Izuku Midoriya the future of what this villain society can be. He is now creating the ultimate, the most powerful, and the most loyal person he possibly could create. And after altering and messing with the mind of Izuku, a quirkless person stands in front of him, but a person that can do so much. This person will now be given back the quirk that he lost, and will be given so much more. Of course, All for One takes months, and the doctors take months to truly perfect what they're trying to do. But the heroes themselves, they're trying anything they possibly can to get a hold of Izuku, to find out where he is. And even his mother tries everything, tries anything, but all she knows is that her little child is unsafe, that her child is in a world of trouble. And as that's exactly what's happening. Izuku is in a world of trouble. But before you know it, he would eventually show up once again. Izuku Midoriya would walk to the front gates of UA High School at the words of All for One, and he would walk up and enter, and everybody would be there, standing in front of him, wondering what the hell's happening, what's going on. And Izuku, he begins to talk, telling them that their new overlord, their new person they will look up to, the one they will bow down to and get on their knees and bow and respect, is All for One. They have not seen it. They have not seen the true light of what All for One is trying to create. They have not seen the world, the true world that All for One is trying to create. His creation starts here in Japan, but it will then bring true freedom to the entirety of the world. Immediately, Aizawa would go to cancel Izuku's quirk, but Izuku would look at him and tell him that he's not here to fight. He's not here to do anything of that sort. Honestly, he's not here to even hurt anybody, but he's here to warn them. All for One has allowed him one last thing, to warn them that if they don't surrender now, that they will be imprisoned, they will be taken over, they will be created into something new, and they will follow him no matter what. Izuku would put the fear of basically God in everyone. They would be terrified. Some of them would think that they should just attack Izuku now, end this once and for all. Maybe they can find some sort of way to stop this from happening. Maybe they take him, cuff him, cancel his quirk, whatever. But of course, Izuku says that he can do whatever they want. Cancel his quirk, take him in. But there's only one way out of this. There's only one way through this. And that is being a loyal follower of All for One. And as they're about to do something, a portal would open up right beneath Izuku, and he would tell them it's time to say goodbye. As he would immediately be covered in darkness, and he would fly right through the portal, as Aizawa would basically run out of time in terms of canceling his quirk. Everybody would think that they don't know what to do. They don't know how they're going to do it. They don't know what they're supposed to do. But it seems like everything is crumbling around them. First, the number one hero, but now this. And they all talk, they all plan, they all scheme, and they think that maybe their best choice, their best chance is to call help from other places, but also to get help from the number 2 hero, now the number 1, Endeavor. Because if Izuku is at the forefront of all of this, his darkness may need light. His darkness that is there may need the excess light to somehow take him down, but there's no guarantees that it will all just work out fine and dandy. There's no guarantees that everything will go according to plan, because, well, let's just say they have no idea what the limits and also the lack of limits that Izuku has on his darkness quirk. Now Izuku is the loyal follower of All For One, of course, not on his own accord, but he is being controlled by the possibly most terrifying villain to ever exist. Now, what are they going to do? How will they somehow stop Izuku and All For One? Well, maybe they will, maybe they won't, maybe they can, and maybe they can't. But that is for the finale of What If Deku Had a Darkness Quirk. And if you enjoyed this video, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.